God, look at that picture over there. There's the Earth coming up. Wow, is that pretty?
Hello and welcome to our first session of the 2025 Astrophotography Prize judging. We're thrilled to have you join us from wherever you are across the world. Today we will showcase some outstanding astrophotography as we commence the live judging of the top 27 images of the Astro Landscape category. I'm Robyn Campbell, together with Andrew Campbell, or Andy, as everyone knows him. Daniel and Nathan Bingham and I have worked tirelessly together behind the scenes to bring this incredible live judging event together. Before we begin, we are hosting from Australia, where we have a custom that's performed at the beginning of events such as this. So it's called the Acknowledgement of Country. We would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which this event is hosted today. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. We also recognise the rich and enduring knowledge of the skies held by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Long before Western astronomy, Aboriginal ancestors studied the stars, gave names to celestial bodies, and used them to interpret star maps and songlines. Their understanding of the night sky, passed down through generations, remains an integral part of Australia's cultural heritage. We honour their deep connection to the night sky. This event would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. We'd like to extend our gratitude to our major sponsor, Celestron. Celestron have sponsored our overall winner with the Celestron Edge 9.25 HD telescope OTA. It's valued at around 3,000 USD. Thank you so much, Celestron. In addition to this, we have, and this is new to the competition this year, the Celestron Prize, which is given to the highest scoring image taken with a Celestron OTA, and they will win an Origin Intelligent Home Observatory valued at $4,000. How cool is that? If you haven't had a chance, check it out. It's an incredible system, particularly for anyone doing landscapes that's thinking of tipping over the edge into the deep sky. The Intelligent Home Observatory is an awesome tool to have. So we are about to judge the landscape category. This is sponsored by Sidereal and Move Shoot Move. Our first prize winner will receive a Samyang 14mm 2.8 MK2 lens and Move Shoot Move Nomad Pro kit, which together is valued at over 9,000 USD. Thank you so much to Move Shoot Move and Sidereal. The runner-up will receive an Astrophotography store voucher valued at 200 USD. We'd also like to thank our remote imaging category sponsor, Deep Sky West, our Astro Landscape sponsors, NEAC and Stellarview, and our solar system sponsors, QSI and ATTIC. Thank you, everyone, for coming along for this incredible journey. I'm sure our entrants and particularly our winners appreciate it. So this is how our event will judge this morning. Each finalist image will be assessed by an incredible panel of experts who I'm going to introduce in a moment. There'll be real-time commentary, insights, and every now and again you'll get what's called a challenge, which is super exciting. Scores will be displayed on the screen as we go. Once all the judges have judged every image, our panel will then deliberate offline to determine the winner from the 5 highest scoring images. Now, you won't know who has won that immediately, but there will be an announcement forthcoming next Friday. Now, before we start the official judging, we do what's called a run through, and this is a preview of the top 27 images for judging. I will start that preview for you. I now have the honour of introducing our incredible panel of judges. First up, we have Ari Rex. Ari is an award-winning astrophotographer and educator based in Canberra, Australia, with more than a decade of experience leading Milky Way and lunar photography workshops. His work has been widely published and exhibited, and through workshops and photography safaris, he continues to share his passion for astrophotography. Ari's photography seeks to connect people with the vastness of the universe. Welcome, Ari.
Hi everyone.
Next up, we have Rachel Smith. Rachel is a New Zealand-based photographic artist and multi-award winning photographer. Her work spans a range of genres with a strong focus on landscape, nature, and travel photography. An Ilford Master, Rachel has over 10 years of experience judging at regional, national, and international levels. She's the current president of the New Zealand Institute of Professional Photography and is passionate about encouraging photographers to grow their skills and push their creative boundaries. Welcome, Rachel. Next up, we have Bob Coates. Bob has been a professional photographer since 1995, building a career that spans commercial projects, weddings, wildlife, fine art decor, blending photography with digital artistry. An accomplished educator and author, he has presented at Imaging USA and other national platforms, judged international competitions, and leads Milky Way and night sky workshops in Sedona, Arizona. Passionate about giving back, Bob has also raised significant funds for his local community through creative photographic projects. Thank you so much for joining us, Bob.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. We welcome Christine Canyon. Christine is an award-winning Milky Way and landscape photographer based in Utah, with a background in darkroom film and a lifetime passion for adventure. She has collaborated with leading brands including Adobe, Nikon, and Real Right Stuff. Her work has been featured in national and international publications. A sought-after speaker, writer, and educator, Christine leads immersive workshops in the American West, sharing her expertise in capturing and processing Milky Way landscapes. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure.
Awesome. Now we welcome Luke Sharkey. Luke is a Hobart-based landscape photographer renowned for his Milky Way and Aurora Australis landscapes across the Tasmanian wilderness. Winner of the 2018 David Malan Astrophotography Awards, his work has been featured in Australian Geographic and other publications. A Sony digital imaging advocate, Luke is dedicated to dark sky conservation and brings technical expertise and careful planning to capturing the beauty of the night sky. Welcome, Luke.
Thanks, lovely to be here.
And last but by no means least, the awesome Paul Holland. Paul is also Tasmanian-based portrait, travel and landscape photographer, recognised as a Grand Master of Photography with the NZIPP and 7 times Tasmanian Professional Landscape Photographer of the Year with the AIPP. An experienced guide, educator and international judge, he also runs workshops worldwide and contributes to numerous publications. A member of the Light Collective and ambassador for Asuka Book Australia. Paul's fine art work is represented globally, and his passion for night sky photography has led to projects such as Southern Nights Collective, showcasing the beauty of Aurora Australis. Welcome, Paul.
Morning, everyone. Well, good afternoon to some of you. Good evening to all.
Fantastic. So without further ado, I now get to hand everything over to our panel mentor, Andy Campbell. Now, Andy is the competition director. He is also a renowned astrophotographer in his own right, Grandmaster of the AIPP and Fellow of the NZIPP. He's past winner of the Deep Sky section of the David Malan Awards, 4 times shortlisted for the Royal Greenwich Observatory International Astronomy Photographer of the Year, twice Australian Science Photographer of the Year, and numerous NASA APODs. He will be guiding our discussion and leading the live stream judging. So I guess it's all over to you, Andy.
Thanks so much, Robyn, and a very warm welcome to everyone in live stream land to the first session of the Astrophotography Prize Astro Landscape Category. We're delighted to have you here. So as Paul mentioned, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning and good night, wherever you are. We're excited to get into 27 images today. We'll just throw that in because there was a tie at the end. So we have a top 27, not top 25. This session should run for 90 minutes to possibly 2 hours, depending on the debate and discussion. And we hope you find it educational, enlightening, and rewarding. So without further ado, could we have the first image, please? And just for the benefit of those of you in Livestream land, the judges will be scoring each image out of 100. The machine will then average that score, and we'll see what happens from there depending on the scoring ranges. The entrance statement. The Milky Way core rises gracefully over a solitary tree standing in the still waters of Lake Tulondo under crystal clear conditions. Shot in Victoria, Australia on a Nikon Z7 II with a Z14 to 24 2.8 lens. Is a 2-row panoramic image. Scores are coming in now. Just looking for scores from, there we are. Right, this image has scored an average of 88, which is a very solid silver award. That said, we have judges in the scoring range of 90 and above. That gives them the right to challenge this score, and we're going to embark on that now. The highest scorer is Christine. Christine, take it away. Could you talk to the image, please?
Certainly, I found this in the original round to be absolutely stunning. It's very sharp. I tend to shy away from too much contrast, but in this particular case, the contrast is glorious. I mean, it almost looks like a band of jewels going, above the beautiful trees. And I think that the symmetry is gorgeous. And in this particular case, I think a center focus on the lone dead tree there in the center is quite stunning. I was very, very drawn to this to this image initially, and seeing it again, I feel the same way.
Thank you, Christine. Rachel, you've given this a good score, but not quite as high. Could I ask you to comment on this one, please?
Yeah, I've given this an 83, a strong silver. I don't actually have anything negative to say about it. I'm quite happy to listen to the feedback. I find it very well constructed, very nice tones and palette. The balance and the composition is strong. So yeah, listening eagerly to see where we can go with this.
Thank you, Rachel. Now, Christine, you've got some support from Luke. He's also in the gold range. Luke, could I ask you to comment, please?
Sure thing. My favorite part of this image is definitely the composition with a really strong central figure and very clear vision with the Milky Way arching over the central dead tree. And in zooming in and looking at all of the detail, it's just pin sharp front to back in this image. And, looking at all the other images in the competition, I thought the standard of technical execution of this image was extremely high. And for that reason, I believe it was definitely warranting a gold result.
Thank you, Luke. Bob, just quickly, you've got something to contribute as well? You're on mute.
I really appreciate all the good things, and everything that was said was absolutely great. Where I scored in the middle of the silver, and my major concern is we have a dead dark spot that is just so lacking in detail in the very center, and that's the area of highest contrast, and it just grabs so much attention away from all the rest of the beauty that's going on.
All right, thank you, Bob. Christine, you have right of reply.
Well, I appreciate the debate. I guess I especially agree with those who are willing to give it a higher score. I'm quite taken by it. As I said, I think that Luke made very good commentary on it. And I don't quite maybe see I do see some areas that are inconsistent, but I guess to my eye, it isn't over. I guess I don't have it. I'm very sensitive personally to an eye gravitating toward either a hot spot or a dark spot or an inconsistent spot. So I look at it, and to my eye, I see consistency, I see beauty, clarity, gorgeous tonal range, color palette. I love the highlights that really shine. I mean, it just pops in the Milky Way, which to me just brings it home.
Thank you so much, Christine. All right, Christine, your score of 95 is locked in. Everyone else is now free to rescore this image as they see fit based on the discussion. if you could all please rescore the image. This image now scores a gold award at 91. So congratulations to the entrant. That is a very high standard of entry. I should also mention, for the benefit of the folks at home, that the judges have the ability to pixel peep these images at 100% through their judging screens at any time. So they can zero in and see if those stars are pin sharp and shadow detail is there. All that kind of stuff is available to them, along with the technical details for every image. Could we go to the next image, please? The entry statement is the Milky Way captured in southern Crete. The image shows a tree in the foreground and the rocky Libyan Sea coastline in the background. Taken in Crete, Greece, on a Canon 6D Astro Modified with a Samyang 24mm lens and a HA astronomic filter. There are 4 panels for the sky and 2 panels for the foreground. Could we have your scores, please, team? There we are. This image has scored a solid silver at 86. Well done. That's a very good score. Now, the judges are all of similar and alike minds with their scoring here, with scoring ranges from 83 to 88. So we won't challenge this one. Instead, what we'll do is we'll ask for a comment from Paul Holland, please.
I particularly enjoy there's an element of warmth that comes through here. The tonality in the foreground, the background, there's these gorgeous sort of offset diagonals reaching down to the center of the frame, and there's little points of interest above. It's quite balanced in its tonality, and it's quite a beautiful landscape foreground to give the support, and it doesn't have too much separation. It's quite inclusive of the foreground and background together, and it wraps around quite cohesively.
Thank you so much, Paul. We're just going to do a quick little judge swapperoonie here. Rachel, I'm going to get you to sit this next 1 or 2 out, and I'm going to bring Ari Rex on board for the next couple of images. Could we have the next image, please? The entrance statement is, while photographing the Milky Way over Freycinet National Park near Swansea, Tasmania, I was gifted an unexpected visit from the enchanting Lady Aurora. Photographed in Swansea, Tasmania on a Nikon Z7 II with a Nikon Z 14 to 24mm lens. Foreground is 10 exposures of 10 seconds and the sky is a single 10-second exposure. Just waiting for your score, Christine, please. There we are. Thank you so much. This image scores 86, a very solid silver award. Congratulations to the entrant. Now, the judges are once again almost aligned perfectly with their scoring here. So let's hear from Luke Sharkey. Your score is right on the average there, sir.
Sure. Look at with this image, beautiful technical execution, nice sharpness in the foreground, all the way to the front, although there's not much detail right there in the front. I think for my eye, from a compositional perspective, I'm a bit challenged by the foreground rock being very close to the edge of frame. In the bottom left there, I'd like to see that having a bit more space to reduce a bit of tension in the overall composition, and a little bit of softness in the back where the sky and the terrestrial frame is sort of put together, but in an amazing moment captured, and well done to the photographer.
So Luke, with this image, do you think perhaps a panorama might have been of value here?
Certainly, I think a landscape 2:3 aspect ratio, there's not a huge amount of value added by the top and bottom of this image, and certainly could have been a candidate for a landscape frame still in 2:3 aspect ratio. Just obviously it's easier when you're the one sitting in the chair rather than the one that's out there taking the shot at the time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Luke. Could we go to the next image, please? All right, the entry statement is the Milky Way above Astro Observatory. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies to everyone in France. Correas, France. Canon EOS 60A Samyang 135mm f2.2 lens on a Nissi natural light filter tracked with a Star Adventurer. 66 by 60 second exposures. This image has scored 84. It's a very, very solid silver award. Luke, are you comfortable with that? You have an elective challenge opportunity if you would like to take it.
I think I am pretty comfortable with that overall. Yeah, I think it's a absolutely stunning sky that's been put together, and I guess for myself to go into a higher scoring, it might be more around having a bit more of the transition between the sky and the land being a little more consistent, perhaps. That's probably my biggest observation. Yeah.
Thank you, Luke. As we're not challenging this image, let's also get an extra comment from Ari. Ari, you're on mute, I think.
Thanks, Andy. This image it's a beautiful image. I like the composition of the sky. I find it just a touch bit contrasty, and the foreground is just a tiny, like that's a big part of a composition, and it's quite low. I would have preferred it to be a bit upper the frame. But yeah, overall, it's a great image.
Thank you so much, team. All right, let's move on to the next image. And this one is a classic Colorado Milky Way shot captured last year when the pass opened. The location is Cottonwood Pass, Colorado in the United States, taken with a Sony A7R III Astro modified, a Sony 14mm lens, and a Star Adventurer tracker, with exposures for tracked sky and tracked foreground. So the scores have come in now, and almost unanimously, the judges have given this a silver award at 84. Congratulations. Let's have a comment on this one from Christine. This is your part of the world.
It is. This is a fun shot, and it's neat to see people enjoy the sky and the landscape, but then try to add a little zing. So I think it's handled very, very well. The air glow is beautiful. It's a very gentle, natural shot, well handled. Um, I think if I made one comment about it, I sort of felt that possibly the snow could have had maybe just a little lift, not a lot. I don't like to get out of the realm of natural, but just a little bit more spark maybe to the snow. But I really love and I feel also that would blend and be more harmonious with the sky, possibly if you sort of lifted the whites a little bit gently in the foreground. But I think it's a lot of fun. I like the way the lights course through the scene and carry you all the way to the core.
Christine, you mentioned air glow, and I'm assuming that's the green kind of striped effect in the sky. Is
Correct.
that something that astrophotographers in this genre look for?
Well, whether we look for it or not, it's many times there. I'm not a globetrotter, so I don't really know what you see in Australia or other places, but I know that in the American West, this is a very, very common scene to greater or lesser extents, more so possibly in certain seasons. But again, which is what I tell my students, if you have a good histogram and a good exposure, you're going to squeeze all the juice out of the sky, and you'll be able to actually see these beautiful events in the sky far better than if you're underexposed. So this is actually, I believe looking at this is a very well exposed image, and so you're really getting all of that detail out. And for anybody who thinks this is exaggerated or there's somebody pushed the saturation up, it may be slightly to the magenta, maybe. But I think it was shot with maybe I don't know if it was no, it doesn't look like it had a filter. But those greens and those purples are actually very, very natural to the scene. I experience them regularly.
Yeah, it's an Astro modified camera in the description. Alrighty, let's move on to the next image. Christine, we'll give you a short break and we'll bring Rachel back on to the panel. And let's go to the next image, please. So the entry statement is Amatjira man, the Aboriginal warrior standing watch over his land with Comet C/2023 A3 Tushinshan Atlas and the Milky Way. This is photographed in the Northern Territory of Australia with a Nikon Z7 II with a Nikon Z 14 to 24mm 2.8 lens, 20 10-second exposures. Thank you, judges. This image has scored a silver award at 83. Congratulations. As the judges are all fairly similar with their scores, they're within 5 points of one another, we'll accept that score and we'll look for a comment from Rachel. Rachel, your score is exactly 83.
Yeah, I really enjoy the power of the perspective that the photographer's shot from. Really makes the sculpture dominate the scene, and it's really quite dramatic. I'm not too sure that the extra foreground in the bottom of the image is adding as much, and so I'd actually like to see a little bit more of the Milky Way coming through. So perhaps a slightly different crop or perspective would have given that a lot more drama in the sky, while still shot from that low angle, having the power of the sculpture coming through.
Thanks, Rachel. That's great feedback for the entrant. Could we have the next image, please? Now, this photo is taken in a beautiful place in the Polish Tatra Mountains in Jurgau. It depicts a raising Milky Way over the Tatry, Bolesky and 3 meteors. And apologies to those in Poland who I'm sure are mangling your language. The image is taken in Poland on a Canon 6D Astro-modified camera. The sky is 10 30-second exposures and the foreground is 2 180-second exposures. Total integration time of 11 minutes. This image has scored 88, which is a very solid silver award, but I don't think we're done yet. We have 2 judges scoring this one in the 90s, the highest of which is Bob. Bob, could you challenge this one for us, please?
I absolutely would want to challenge this. I scored this at 93. I feel this is definitely up into the gold standard. The composition of this, we have so much depth and dimension. The water leads us into the scene. We have the foreground, middle ground, background, and sky. So we have so much depth. And I believe that the Milky Way was handled very well, and our meteors coming in. There's a lot to like about this.
Thank you so much. Now, all the scores are very high. The lowest one, Ari, you've given this 85. Could you talk to the image, please?
Yeah, sure. I agree with Bob. The image is, it's got a lot of great things to talk about. And yeah, the only thing, a couple of things that let me down on this image. One is just the noise, the way it's handled, particularly in foreground on the lower right, where the contrasty the flow on the river, and also on the dark areas. If it was darkened just a tiny bit, probably would have hidden that noise. The noise reduction has been applied beautifully, but yeah, I think that's what one of the main things that let me a little bit down on it. But yeah, I would like to hear a bit more from other judges.
Let's hear a little bit more. Let's hear from Paul. You're right on the average here, please, sir.
Yeah, I feel like the presentation of this is quite magnificent in terms of the evenness of the tonality, the way the foreground and the background blends together beautifully. That lovely diagonal to the top left that follows through the sweep of the river in the foreground, and the level of detail is presented without screaming at us, but also giving us a lot of capacity to be really reach into it. And the timing with potentially the meteors as well is quite magnificent. I'm a little bit with Ari in terms of the technical competence to go to that much trouble and to create that many captures and still have quite a lot of what feels like introduced noise in the foreground is just technically holding back a little bit from pushing into that gold range. But I'd say all the other qualities for me are pretty much there.
Thank you, Paul. Well, Rachel suggested that this might be a gold at 91. She's in support of Bob.
Yeah, I am, absolutely. I actually find the composition to be really, really stunning, and the river leading me through, sneaking through off to the right and then up into the Milky Way, but the fork in the river also mirroring the arch is really stunning. I agree about the noise, but I find it quite forgivable, because if that foreground was darkened, I think that leading line would be a lot less powerful, and the detail through in the tips of the mountains and the control of the tonal range is just really lovely. So I've snuck it into a gold.
Thank you, Rachel. Bob, your right of reply, sir. Bring it home.
Yeah, gold for sure still. And I appreciate the thought about the noise. For me, this particular noise pattern is very clean. It doesn't look chunky and, like it wasn't handled well. It feels like it was brought together very well. And this kind of a composition with the level of detail in here, definitely gold. I invite you to join me there, please.
Thank you so much, Bob. Bob, your score is locked in at 93. Everyone else is now free to rescore. And we have a gold award at 90. Congratulations to the entrant. Well done. Those nice shiny gold awards do look good with little stickers on them in your galleries, portfolios and socials. So well done and very exciting for you. Luke, we'll give you a quick break and we'll bring Christine back onto the panel if that's okay. Could we have the next image, please? And the entry statement is Super Air Glow and Two Arms of the Milky Way. Taken in the Andes highlands in the Atacama Desert in Chile, on a Sony A7 III with a Tachyna 16 to 28mm lens. It's a panorama of 10 images, 25-second exposures. And just waiting on your score, Christine. There it is. Thank you so much. This image has scored 83. It's a very solid silver award. As the judges are very much aligned with their scoring on this one, let's hear from Bob. You're right on 83 with your score, sir.
Yeah, this is a very fun image. And normally I would be against a split screen of having a horizon in the center of the image, but there's enough interest in the sky and handled well, and enough interest in the foreground that kind of pull things together. And our photographer in the center there kind of pulls it the rest of the way there. A little bit of improvement, I think, would have come. There is a bit of noise in this, which kept me from getting to a higher score, but beautifully handled.
Thanks so much, Bob. That's valuable feedback. Could we have the next image, please? The entry statement is the Aurora Australis taken over Lake Lonsdale here in Victoria, Australia. Taken on a Sony A7 IV with a 20mm lens, 1.8, 10-second exposure at 3200 ISO. Just repeating for the folks at home, the judges have all the technical information provided by the entrants at their disposal and the ability to pixel peep these images at 100% to get right on in there and examine everything that's possible. This image scores 84, a very, very solid silver award. Judges are once again of closely aligned minds. So let's hear from Paul Holan on this one. Paul, your score of 85.
Yeah, and it really deserves that. It has a lovely sense of grace to it. It feels very open. There's a lovely luminance that comes through, and it's quite an interesting choice of subject matter. I feel like I might have gone a little bit higher if I cropped the sides off and actually kept that kind of oval sweep to the foreground that's beautifully handled, and the sort of inner sort of 2/3 of the frame. And you could potentially sort of maybe add a little bit of strength to that by even beginning or bringing in the sky a little bit more sort of power to it, potentially by darkening it down a touch, I think, and just bringing it into a more cohesive sort of strength, I guess, with all those lovely elements.
Thank you so much, Paul. We'll move on to the next image and we'll bring Luke back to the panel. And Bob, you can take a quick break if that's okay.
That'll work.
This image. Aboriginal warrior with spear in hand stands watch over his land in a remote area of the Northern Territory. This is in the Anmantjera region of the Northern Territory of Australia with the Nikon Z7 II, Nikon Z 14 to 24mm 2.8 lens. It's a 2-row panorama, 10 exposures of 60 seconds each. Boom, straight to gold.
Okay.
We have a gold award at 91. Straight up there, straight in there. We have 4 judges in gold. So I'm just going to pull on my special superpowers of panel mentorship here. And I just kind of want to sound this one out a little bit and see if you guys are completely comfortable with where this is sitting. So Paul Holan, I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind to talk to this image, and we'll take it as a chairperson's challenge.
Yeah, I was going to ask if I could, to be honest. So thank you, and well deserved the extra time. I mean, it's very powerful in terms of its emotive content. It's very unashamedly bold in terms of its reverence and allusion to the cultural majesty that it's presenting here. You know, there's so much depth in terms of the knowledge base that these people have for tens of thousands of years, the oldest culture on earth, and their relationship and their belief systems around some of the tribes even believing we're ultimately from the stars even. And it's just presented in a very, very accessible, very powerful, very engaging way. It's beautifully researched in terms of the timing and the balance and the composition and the vision of knowing how to create this image together. The foreground and background is beautifully held together from a tonal point of view, and yet we're pulled through with a bit of depth from those highlights. And there's just so much to explore. There's nothing that needs to be taken away or added in. The composition, corner to corner, is really perfect. It does give a little bit of breathing room as well, which I also really appreciate. And it also speaks to the breadth of the land and how solidly this figure is placed and connected in it. And yet that transition into the sky and into the reverence of the celestial world is given just as much reverence as well. I'd love to hear more from our other judges and maybe even give it a higher score.
Thank you so much. Christine, you're just out of the gold award range, but still a very high score. Can I get your thoughts on this one, please?
Certainly. No, I think visually it's stunning. I mean, I agree with every comment made before. I think the only thing that I noticed, and this is maybe being picky to a point that is, undeserving to the rest of the majesty of the shot, but I'm noticing that the figure in the center seems to have somewhat of a halo at portions around the body, especially the arm holding the spear. There was just a few little things, but if I were to dismiss that, I mean, it is, I was very torn, honestly, so that's sort of being picky because I think the tonality of it is gorgeous, the exposure is perfect. I could be persuaded on this, but I did see a few things in that area that sort of just caught my eye.
Rachel, could I have a comment from you, please? You're well and truly into the Gold Award as well.
Yeah, I scored this 92. I find it's absolutely stunning, beautiful detail throughout. It's got that real power and of force and strength, and that unity between the earth, the sky, and the people. And yeah, I thought it was incredibly stunning. Didn't notice the haloing. I've had a look. I can see that there is a fine amount of line there. It yeah, it doesn't distract me whatsoever. I think that it's an easily a gold image, and I'm not too sure how the mentor challenges work, but I will happily raise my score and give this a higher gold. I think it's yeah, majestic.
Well, now that you've brought that up, the Panel Mentors Challenge works that it's kind of like a you all get to rescore. All right. So you may now all freely rescore this image as you see fit. And this image now scores 93, which is a very, very solid gold award. Solid gold, top hit, woohoo! Congratulations to the entrant, and I love the comet in there as well. That's really, really cool. Brilliant image, well done. Let's go to the next image, please. So the Milky Way arches over Mungo National Park's ancient lunettes, echoing a gateway once navigated and celebrated by Australia's first peoples for millennia. Location is Mungo National Park, New South Wales, Australia, taken with a Canon R5 camera with a Sigma 20mm lens and a Benro Polaris tracker. We have 10 exposures for the foreground and 10 for the sky. Also like to acknowledge our sponsors, Sidereal and Move Shoot Move, for donating a wonderful prize to this category. Rachel, I just need your score. There it is. Thank you so much. This image scores 83. Very solid silver award. We'll take that score, as all the judges are very similar. Luke, your score is right on 83. Could I ask you to comment to this image, please?
Absolutely. Amazing location and great timing to get the Milky Way arch. Really great subject material here for myself. The challenges I had were around the foreground sharpness and how that sort of leads through the image, as well as kind of just a compositional foreground. The foreground doesn't feel well considered in the sense of leading the eye through the frame, with there being other interesting features in the image. It just leaves you wanting a little bit more in terms of the foreground aspects. So yeah, but a very solid image, and well done to the photographer.
Paul, I think you wanted to contribute some feedback to the entrant on this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, Luke really touched on it. I think there's a lot more room here to tie in from a design point of view in terms of the shape of the image. You've got this beautiful circular sky, and there's it's almost like begging to have that kind of compositionally matched or drawn into the frame for the shape. Like if you took like 2 steps to the right, for instance, and you had that, circular sweep of this foreground in front of us, it might just tie in really beautifully. And then you can maybe even crop in from the sides and really reinforce the circular shape like that, just to strengthen the connection between the foreground and the sky.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's worth mentioning to the folks at home that if a judge's score is more than 5 points above the average, they have the opportunity to challenge. If they don't have that scoring range, then we ask for comments on each image as we go. Let's go to the next image. Paul, we're going to give you a quick break if that's okay, and we'll welcome Bob back to the panel. The entrance statement. This image uses a stacked sky of 50 frames, 5 seconds each, at ISO 3200, combined with a foreground of 196 frames, each of 5 seconds. And the equipment used is a Nikon D7200 with a Sigma 14mm lens. And this image scores 83, a very solid silver award. Congratulations. Also scoring 83 is Luke Sharkey. Luke, could I ask you to talk to this image, please?
Absolutely. So incredible alignment with the comet directly above the peak of the mountain, and it's obviously a well premeditated shot, and trying to get that conceptually is fantastic. And I think the challenges I found with the image was around the sharpness of the frame, particularly around the feature of the mountain. Maybe some over noise reduction there has reduced some of the detail, and then the foreground also, there's sort of a lack of sharpness there as well, although that can be forgiven given that the subject is in the back. But yeah, that was probably my main challenge with it, but just beautifully put together.
It's a clever image, isn't it? It's well seen. Thank you, team. Could we have the next image, please? So this is a 360-degree panorama showing the arch of the Milky Way stretching across the sky, across the volcanic landscape of Tenerife in the Canary Islands. Location: Canary Islands in Spain. Canon R5 camera, Sigma 14mm 1.4 art lens, with exposures of 8 for the foreground and 8 for the sky. This image goes straight to gold at 90. Congratulations, hearty congratulations. Going straight to gold is a very amazing thing. The highest scorers are Christine and Rachel. Rachel, either of you, Christine or Rachel, could take this on. Who would like to take this on?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Oh, go, Christine.
No, I was saying I defer if you wish to.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel,
okay.
it's all yours.
I put this in gold at 92. And what really tipped it over for me, I found it's beautifully balanced. There's lovely details throughout the palette, and the tonal range is just stunning. But what tipped it into the gold for me, which I really loved, was the inclusion of that tiny figure on the right-hand side of the Milky Way arch, and the astral arch. Anyway, what I love about that is that sense of scale and how insignificant the human form is in the grand scheme of the world and the stars and the planets and everything like that. And so, yeah, that's really what tipped it into gold for me.
Fantastic. Bob, you've given it a good score, but not quite as high as the others.
Yeah, I missed that figure, so that's definitely a help as well. My concerns, I mean, this is, when you go to a 360-degree view, it often throws things off. So I had a hard time with the composition. But in addition, the sharpness in the foreground, because it is so bright, in the scene, it does grab some attention. And there's, I think the noise could have been handled just a wee bit better.
Thank you, Bob. Christine, you're right up there in the solid gold score. Could we ask for your comments, please?
Well, I think the first of all, the crop is almost perfect. It could possibly be slight. Well, no, I take that back because we'd be cropping into some stars there at the top. But I think that the tonality is absolutely gorgeous. I think it's complementary from edge to edge. I find the noise handled well and the sharpness handled well. I think that the image is so powerful, it makes up for, any minor shortcomings. I think the way that the composition is perfect. And although I personally don't shoot, I think I always find these very interesting, these very sort of narrow, small Milky Way rainbows. But I think in this, and sometimes they aren't has handled as well as others. I think this is just perfect. I think it just complements, like I said, edge to edge. I just don't see any major fault at all.
I think you're absolutely right there, Christine. You've nailed that. Well done. Could we throw back to you, Rachel, for your right of reply?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your comments, everybody. So I find that that brightness in the foreground in the right, that brings in the tone of the foliage, which is mirrored in the tones of the stars, and just connects us with the land and the sky that little bit more. The brightest part of the image is that area of celestial cluster, which is right where they've actually had somebody stand. I think that the construction is masterful and incredibly well balanced. And yeah, I'd love to see it go a bit higher into gold, everybody.
Well, Rachel, your score is locked in at 92 with the elective challenge. Everyone else is free to rescore the image, so let's see what happens. Just waiting on yours, Christine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. The image has now gone up to 91. Congratulations. That's a very solid gold. Fantastic. Another of the top hits for the day. Well done. Let's move on to the next image, please. So the entry statement is Beach Bones, the Ethel shipwreck, uncovered with the Milky Way core rising overhead and the southern lights dancing on the horizon. This is taken in Inniston in South Australia on a Nikon Z7 II with a Nikon Z14 to 24mm f2.8 lens. There are 18 exposures for the sky and 6 for the foreground. Ari, just your score, please.
Yep. Sorry, I thought I put it. I put it in my mind.
It's all good. This image has scored 86, a very solid silver award. Congratulations to the entrant. And let's hear from, let's hear from you, Ari. You're right up there.
Yes, thanks, Andy. The image is very, very well captured and composed. I like the way it flows at the leading lines of the shipwreck towards the bright area of the image, straight to the tiny aurora and going up to the Milky Way, and just keeps you going around. But when you go around the left of the image, the only thing that let me down this image is just that little bit of the HDR look on the dark areas of the image, particularly, which are brightened just a tiny bit. When you see these images, you'd like to feel that we are at night and we're looking at all this beautiful sky and foreground and making you feel that that scenery of the dark areas and the bright areas and yeah, that's the only thing that would have possibly handled better in post-production, I reckon.
Thank you so much, Ari. We're going to give you a break after that one, and we're going to bring Paul Holan back onto the panel for the next image, after which we'll have a 5-minute interval so everyone can take a break. So next image, please. The entry statement is Comet C/2024 G3 Atlas after sunset at Takapū. At a Takapū colony, that's the Australasian gannet, in January 2025 in New Zealand. The location is the Takapū gannet colony, Muriwai, Auckland, New Zealand. Taken with a Sony A7 IV, a Sigma 35mm lens, and a Koken P830 filter. It's a panoramic image of 2 rows of 5 panels. And the initial score, I say initial score, is 88. However, we have a judge well and truly into gold at 95. Bob, would you like to challenge this image?
Oh, yes, I would.
Good man. Good man.
This sky is just magnificent. The blend between the sunset and the comet, the way it was captured, and then the foreground with the birds. This thing just really grabs your attention and brings you forward. The slow exposure for the water just gives us that nice nummy feel. Definitely in the gold for me.
Thank you so much. Now we've got a range of scores. Paul, your score is 83. Could you talk to this one, please?
Yeah, that's not far from my house, actually, where I grew up. Almost drowned out there a few times on some crazy surfing missions. But anyway, I just feel like a lot of this image is competing with itself. There's a lot of elements pulling at my attention, left, right, front, background, and they're not as cohesive as maybe they could be in terms of their palette, and the compositional elements are just stretching left and right and up and down. I'm a little bit distracted on the right-hand foreground there. I would have moved a little bit left or maybe cut that out a little bit. At the same time, there's so much intrigue and there's such a grasp at a really, really quite magnificent encompassment of a lot of different ones together to bring into one frame. And I applaud the author for even attempting it, and I'm going to listen and see what I've missed and
Luke, you're almost up there. You're just off gold. Let's hear from you, please, sir.
Thanks, Andy. Certainly agree with Paul's comments there, as well as also Bob's as well. It's just a very beautiful sky, and obviously having the comet in there directly above the distant sea stack or rocky point out there is a nice sort of complement. And I do struggle a bit with the softer detail in the right foreground, then sort of obscuring and blocking the image somewhat, and reducing the beautiful flow in from that right hand corner that could be sweeping in. And so so that's sort of my observations with that one. But yeah, I agree with Paul. It's just beautifully done there.
Thank you so much. All right, Bob, back to you, sir.
Yeah, those are great thoughts, and I agree. This is a busy image, but I think that the maker pulled it off. Again, that sky is just so stunning. The one super negative that I heard was the out of focus in the foreground. The maker made it darker, and it balances the dark on the left hand side. The birds kind of just tell a whole different story. Come on up into the gold.
All righty, team. Let's rescore the image. Bob, you're going to hold your score at 95. Everyone else is now free to rescore. Ooh, you're nearly 89. Very good effort.
All right. That's a good score too.
Very good effort. Every point does count. The top 5 will go to round 3 for final assessment. So well done. Thank you, folks. We're going to take a 5-minute interval so everyone can reset and refresh. If the team can take care of that in the background, and we'll see you all in 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
And welcome back. That was slightly longer than we had planned for our break. We're having some internet issues here in Australia, but that's okay. I'm sure you can all stick with us and stay patient. We'll re-edit the YouTube update later. So if you're having issues listening, don't worry. We'll produce something a bit later that you can get a slightly clearer result from. Thank you so much again to our amazing sponsors who have come together to make this event possible. Celestron, our major sponsor, and of course our landscape category sponsors, Sidereal and Move, Shoot, Move. So I'd like to panel mentor Andy, who will bring us to our next image.
Let's go to the next image, please, team. Thank you so much. The entry statement is: an abandoned train stop in Namibia's desert glows softly. Abandoned train stop in Namibia's desert glows softly. Embraced by the Milky Way's arc, captured under one of the clearest skies on Earth. So this is in the Karas region of Namibia, taken with a Canon. This is in the Karas region of Namibia, taken with a Canon R5 and a Canon 14 to 35mm lens at f4. There are 7 exposures for the foreground and 7 for the sky. For the foreground and 7 for the sky.
We're getting like 5. No me.
Image has scored 88. 88. Almost unanimously. I say almost unanimously. Congratulations to the entrant. Very well done. Very well to the entrant. Very well done. Very well seen. I really find that figure fascinating in the center of the door. Fascinating in the center of the doorway there. It's a little way there. It's a little eerie, a little bit sort of Stranger Things like. So really, really interesting image. Sorry to the folks at home if you're still struggling at all with our internet connectivity issues. We are recording this session, so you won't miss out, and hopefully we'll have the factors that are completely out of our control back online as soon as we can. Could we go to the next image, please? To the next image, please. This image is taken in Australia in Warrnambool on the southern coast of Victoria. It's taken with a Z6 Nikon A and a Nikon Z85mm lens. It's a single exposure. Rachel, I don't have your score. Thank you. Now I do. All right, this image scored 88. But hey, Bob, you've given this 94.
Yeah, I'm an outlier.
Do you want to take it on?
And I had a feeling I would be, but this one just really grabs me. The maker has done such a nice job in bringing detail into those dark, wet rocks. The lovely waves with the time exposure, the central spire that's in the middle there, set against the Milky Way. I just think this is really a strong piece.
Thanks, Bob. Paul, you've given this a good score, not quite as strong as Bob's.
Yeah, I first of all want to commend the photographer for including and handling a single capture so well. Most of all the other entries are multi-captures, and this is one of the few. And there's a lot of really well-handled detail and noise and structure all the way through from the foreground and background of the frame. I feel like the compositionally, the foreground is sort of and the skies competing to get each other. They're quite stretched apart, and it's, to me, it's pulling away from the majesty of the real beautiful central rock in particular, which is really unusual, quite magnificent. I just think quite like it. So I'm just sitting on the fence, sort of compositionally, I guess, and aesthetically, there's this lovely galaxy in the middle, but there's some quite harsh elements on the upper and lower frame that are pulling my attention up and down, where I feel like I want to rest in the middle. But I'm happy to listen and see what I've missed.
Rachel, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it took me a while to put my score in because I was literally deciding where I was going, whether I was going gold or whether I was going very high silver, and I ended up putting it into very high silver just because I would have liked a little bit more at the top of the image rather than at the bottom where the foreground is. I find the sort of almost noble head-like shape of the rock that is in the center of the image very, very beautiful. It's well handled. I love that the photographer let us know it was a single capture. But yeah, that little tilt upwards and a little bit more at the top would have pitched me into gold. But I'm probably an easy talk up.
Well, let's see how Bob goes. Bob, bring it home.
Let me give you a little try. Let me give you a little nudge. Yeah, as I mentioned, this to get that detail in there in the foreground. Yes, it's deep and heavy. Our Milky Way is processed lighter, but I think of the central rock in there as a bridge between the two, and so compositionally, this really works for me. And I invite you to come on up.
All right, team. Let's rescore this image, please. Bob, you're locked in at 94. Oh, so close. Got it to 89. A very, very, very good score. Congratulations to the entrant. That head, it's almost like a Nefertiti-like bust, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary. It's really well seen. Great image. Ari, we'll bring you back onto the panel, and we'll give Luke a quick break if that's okay. Next image, please. We are looking at a 365 nanometer strong light torch used. That's the entry statement. The image is taken in Estonia in the Loksa region with a Canon 6D, a Canon EF 16 to 35mm f4 lens, no filters, and this is a single shot. This image scores 83, a very solid silver award. The judges are all very similar with their scoring for this one. Rachel, let's hear from you, please. Some feedback for the entrant.
Yeah, I find it a very, very interesting capture. I guess for me to have scored it any higher, I probably don't need as much of that foreground. I'm really drawn into the tones and colours and detail in the lower left-hand side of the frame, rather than being drawn up into the sky, and so that sort of held me out of scoring it any higher.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Could we go to the next image, please, team? The entry statement, taken under a nearly full moon, the aurora mimics the flow of smoke emanating from the Lappish structure. Trees and structure direct the eyes upwards. This is taken in Lapland, Finland. Oh boy. Kaksulaiten area. Sorry about that for our Finnish friends. On a Nikon Z8 with a Nikon Z 20mm lens. This image scores 84, a very solid silver award. Congratulations. We have all judges within a similar scoring range. I'd like to hear from Ari for some feedback for the entrant, please.
Thanks, Andy. What a beautiful image of night that looks like a day scene, thanks to the moon and all the light that is poured into the image. I reckon if the crop, if the composition was a bit lower to give a bit more foreground, it would have flown a bit better. I think it's too tight at the bottom. That's the only thing that let me score higher.
It's a clever image, isn't it, Ari, with the way that the aurora is framed there, looking like smoke emanating from that structure. It's well seen, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. It goes very well, but yeah, the top is too much. Like there is, I reckon it's really strong on the foreground subjects balance, the right pillar with a tree. So yeah, that rep made me score higher, definitely.
Thank you so much, Ari. Let's go to the next image, please, team. So the entry statement is Aurora pillars and a thunderstorm above Kirkjufell. This is in Iceland. This is taken with a Canon EOS 6DA, a Sigma Art 24mm lens, using a Nissi natural light filter. There are 24-second exposures. And boom, solid gold. This image has scored an initial score of 90. Congratulations. We have an awful lot of people here in the 90s, so I think it's time to pull out the chairman's challenge once more, if that's okay. We're going to make this what we call an automatic challenge. So I'm going to ask some of you to speak, and then you'll all be free to rescore the image because there are so many of you in the 90 range. The highest one currently is Christine, so I'm going to ask you to speak first.
It is absolutely mesmerizing. The composition is wonderful. I love the symmetry, the eye shape in a sense of the aurora and the foreground snow, and then the beautiful waterfalls into this emerald water. It on the one hand is a complex image, of course, with everything going on, but so well held together. I don't see any problem areas actually at any point in the image, and it just, I think, does what a great photograph should do. Your eye continues to circulate and wander and explore.
Thank you very much. I'm going to jump over to Bob. Your score is lower than the others.
Yeah, I was down in the low silver, and maybe I've missed it, but for me, I just felt there was so much. I had a hard time lighting anywhere. With with a little more time and a little more thought on it, I'm trending up. I would suggest when the maker puts something like this together, the way the aurora kind of just washes off the top kind of holds things back, and whatever lights are on the right-hand horizon there, they might have been handled as well.
Paul, you're in the gold there.
Oh, absolutely, Andrew. The magnificence of the visual flow through this image is, and the lateral flow left to right is just so gorgeous. You can just sweep around that beautiful oval as long as you like. First of all, I thought, oh, does it need more room on the top? And I felt like that would pull away from all the gorgeous detail in the center. And I love the, just that added little bit of visual depth from Kirkjufell in the background. The side lighting just gives it a bit of added dimensionality that pulls me through the frame. I'm rewarded sort of everywhere I look. I really enjoy even what's the word? Reciprocity. The repetition of the glow in the foreground of the water just sort of ties it up the sky really well. It's a common place to photograph, but in terms of how well you could possibly include, elements of celestial magnificence in this landscape. I don't think there's any better way to do it. So, I mean, what a magnificent place to even be present at and even experience as a human being a scene like this. So, well done, solid gold. I'm happy to nudge up higher, I think.
Thank you very much. Ari, you've got something to contribute?
Yeah, 100%. This image is that the all perfect. Like, I really enjoy the way it's captured. The right shutter speed that gave those aurora. It's beautiful structure, and the way it's framed using the top part of aurora, the green part with flowing river and the reflection on the river. I understand with Bob that it is too much about so many things coming together, but they are so well presented, and this is definitely one of those images that I went 93 straight off the bat, but I'm going even higher. It's just a perfect astro landscape.
Thank you so much, team. There will be no rights of reply, but you are all free to rescore this image. Boom, this image now scores 94. Congratulations, that's a very solid gold.
Oh,
that's a big hit. That's on all the radio stations, that one. Very good. All righty then. Let's give Christine a short break and let's bring Luke back onto the panel for the next image, please. The entry statement, October 24 of Aurora. I nestled into the cliffside for the evening with a couple of friends and enjoyed the show. And why not? This is in Tonga Purutu, New Zealand, the Three Sisters. Canon R5, Canon 16 to 35mm 2-point lens, 2 13-second exposures. And this image has scored 85, a very solid silver award. Congratulations. Hang on a second. Ari, did you want to take this on? You've dropped this into the 90s.
Yes, 100%. Thanks, Andy. When I looked at the image, I was just drawn straight to the colors and the way it's presented, and I went to the zoom in because I thought they would like a bit of focus, and I'm not sure if the photographer has done it on purpose, but this image, it gives me a feel of hand painting, and if the photographer has done that softness on post or also on capture intentionally, it has hit the 100% for me, because that's what this image gave me, like the way it's captured and presented, and it's very well captured image. It is gold for me.
Thank you, Ari. Paul, your score is good, but not as high as Ari's.
Yeah, I was just screaming at where else I'd like to be to capture this event. It's such a big aurora and it's such a big sky, and it's an event that's probably going to happen for a little while. I want to go running down to the foreground, sit in front of those Three Sisters, get down really low, include some reflections of wet sand in the foreground, and create something, I guess, with greater compositional strength. I feel like it's leaning a little bit too much on the aurora itself as being the subject, when there's a lot of, I would argue, missed opportunity in terms of the other elements in this wider landscape that could strengthen it compositionally quite a lot more. But that's just my point of view.
Luke, quick comment from you, please, sir. Your score is right in the middle.
Yeah, sure. No, solidly in the middle there. And I can take both points of view on. I feel like if there was a lower perspective, it may have lost the mountain in the distance a little bit more. So I can certainly appreciate the more elevated perspective here and being able to show a much broader scene. However, I do also agree with Paul that it would be nice to have a little bit more of a foreground interest to kind of anchor and sort of lead the eye into the scene. The waves kind of do that nicely, as well as the lead in from the creek on the left there. But it would be nice to have a bit more foreground just to pull our eye through.
Thank you, Luke. Back to you, Ari. Right of reply.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I understand the with lower foreground to be a bit lower to connected with the sky, but I think the sky is a big part of this image. Those colors, the pillars of the aurora spiking up and give you that sense of freedom of takes you there. It takes you to the scene. You want to be there. I see this image I printed really large and just enjoy it on your wall. Yeah, I hope you guys come up on at least silver, upper silver to gold, hopefully.
All right. Thank you, Ari. Everyone else is now free to rescore. Your score of the gold 90 is locked in. The image has gone up, Ari. It's gone up a point to 86. Well done to the entrant. Congratulations. Next image, please. Entry statement. Under a canopy of stars, Coffin Pond mirrored the Milky Way in perfect calm. Fog drifted in, frogs sang, and for 30 minutes, everything felt eternal. That's a nice entry statement. Sugar Hill in New Hampshire. Sony A73A camera, Sigma 20mm 1.4 lens, 20 images of 10 seconds each stacked. Image score is 85, a very, very solid silver award. Let's hear from Bob on this one, please.
Yeah, solid silver for me. Again, this is one of those ones where the split field central composition of the horizon across the center works because it kind of leaps with the reflection into the sky and yet into the foreground as well. I feel that the maker could have possibly processed that Milky Way down just a wee bit more. It's very, very bright, and we're lacking some contrast and detail in there. But other than that, I think this is a solid image.
Thank you so much, Bob. We're going to give you a quick break now, Bob, and we're going to bring Christine back onto the panel for the next image, please. And let's have the next image, please. Thank you. The entry statement is a strong UV light torch was used to light the wreck. This is taken at Loksa in Estonia on a Canon 6D with a Canon EF 16-35mm f4 lens, no filters, single shot, 30 seconds. Image score is 85. Very, very solid silver award. Congratulations to the maker. Let's hear from Paul Holan. You're closest to the average score with this one.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many images like this. Very bold, very striking, very graphically strong. The colors just really jump out at you. It has a lovely sense of dimensionality to it, and very interesting choice of subject matter. And the use of the torch in this case has come out beautifully. I feel like I would have gone a bit higher if it had more celestial elements in the sky, whether it was a galaxy fall or some other element to just add more dimensionality and structure in an astro landscape scene. I feel like it's, you might need a researcher come back at a different time in order to line that up and keep that composition, but could be well worth doing, I would suggest.
Thanks so much, Paul. It's really bold, as you said, isn't it? It's got a lot of punch, that one. Well done. Let's go to the next image, please. The entrance statement. To get this image, I hiked 5.5 hours up to Phantom's Peak at Mount Taranaki through deep snow and ice and dealt with minus 15-degree temperatures. Taranaki, New Zealand, on a Canon EOS R, a Nikki Star soft filter, a Sigma Art 28mm f1.4 lens, and 78 30-second images. Total integration time, 16.5 minutes. Just need your score. There we go. Thank you so much. This image has an initial score of 88, but I don't think it's going to stop there. Rachel, you're the highest scorer at 93, and you may have some insights here as it's your part of the world. Please talk to the image.
I scored at 93. I've put this firmly into gold. I feel like it's been incredibly well planned and executed, and really love the balance of the right-hand side of the arch coming out of the top of Taranaki and arching through, with the hut just placed beautifully in there to give that sort of sense of isolation and scale. Have spent a little bit of time in minus 15-degree temperatures, and I can understand completely how uncomfortable that is. So I appreciate the effort that the photographer's gone to here as well. Yeah, I just find it quite beautiful. There's lovely detail throughout. I'm enjoying all the footprints in the snow, just to give that extra human element, and shows also potentially the scouting that's been done to line this up so beautifully. So yeah, I've rewarded it with a gold.
Very good. Ari, you've given this a solid silver. What's your thoughts on this image, please, sir?
Yeah, the image is captured really nice. The only thing that let me down is a bit possibly on the editing. It looks a little bit, the noise reduction looks a bit applied a bit too much. It is okay to have a little bit of noise on an image, and I can understand the photographer. It's quite hard to deal with noise reduction and even color balance, which in this case it looks a bit on the purple area. So those are the two things that let me down on this image: the color balance and just over noise. But the overall, this is just perfect.
Thank you so much, Ari. Now, we've got another judge in the gold range here. Christine, could you comment on this one, please? You're on mute currently.
I am, thank you. I'm absolutely mesmerized by this shot. I love how the peak to the right, the hill or the peak, is anchoring the Milky Way. I love the centrality of the little hut and the fact that there's a glowing light inside. I think the color palette is very, I'm almost going to say juicy. I mean, it really brings you in. It's just it's a luscious scene. I think if there was only one thing that, you know, maybe myself, I would cheat in the edit, as I might try to get rid of the footprints. But the person, the photographer, decided to leave it natural, and I just think, again, edge to edge, I think everything's handled very well. I think maybe two, even though I put it into gold, maybe two areas that sort of slightly draw me away is to the right of that snow peak. It's a bit light, and then not so much, but to the left where it extends down is a bit bright, so my eyes sort of deviate from center, but it's quibbling. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. Rachel, your right of reply.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. So just to sort of address the noise reduction that Ari mentioned, yes, it has been applied probably a little bit more heavily than necessary, but it hasn't softened the details. I'm finding just stunning details in the peak of Taranaki and in the sky. So I actually don't think it is too much of an issue. Yeah, I find it a beautifully balanced image, and I'm really, really pleased that we've been able to talk about it and spend a little bit more time with it. So I'd love it if people could join me up here in gold.
All right, folks. The image is free to be rescored by all of you except Rachel, whose score is locked in at 93. Oh, so close. It's 89. A very, very good score, regardless of a beautiful image. Rachel, where is Taranaki?
It is a region and a mountain, and it is in the sort of west coast, centre west coast of the North Island of New Zealand. And Mount Taranaki is quite often compared to Mount Fuji with regards to having a very conical and iconic peak.
Thank you for your local knowledge. Could we have the next image, please? Entrance statement: a panoramic image capturing a prominent rocky coast against the backdrop of the Milky Way with the glowing nearby lighthouse and Venus. It's taken at Lewin Naturalist National Park in Western Australia on a Sony A7R3, a Sony 14mm 1.8 lens with multiple exposures for the sky in the foreground. Christine, I just need your score, please. There we go. Got it. Thank you. This image has scored 87. Very solid silver award. Congratulations to the maker. Well done. And let's call on Luke Sharkey for some feedback for the entrant.
Sure. It's an incredibly well put together image, and the technical execution is just absolutely fantastic. So much detail in the foreground, nice straight horizon, which can be hard with these sort of panos. I find the challenges for me were the really bright patch in the far right corner as really pulling your eye away from the shot, and also it actually seems or makes it feel like there's more space in that part of the image as well, and so it sort of creates a bit of imbalance for me. And also the foreground could cradle the sort of shape in the center a little better just to make a more complete composition. But yeah, exceptionally well done.
Thank you, Luke. Cradle the shape. Is that a reference to your new baby?
Maybe.
I love it. Well done. Thank you. All righty. Could we go to the next image, please? Okay. Entrance statement: located in Navajo Nation land of New Mexico, Alien Throne is a hoodoo which was created over millions of years by wind, rain, and water. This is taken in the Valley of Dreams, New Mexico, United States, on a Nikon D850 with a Sigma 20mm f1.4 art lens. It is 161 6-second exposures. Image scores 90. Gold award. Boom. And it's a very strong gold award, but we have one judge who is even stronger than everyone else. So we'll take an elective challenge from you, Paul. You're at 94.
Oh, yeah, I've been looking forward to this opportunity to spend a bit of time and all of us to search a little bit deeper and delve around into it. It's given us such a phenomenal level of beautifully extricated detail all the way through it. Even just the side lighting of the foreground, how clean the file is almost unbelievable. I'm loving the title, the Alien Throne, and just the way the air glow and the layers of it just point to that sort of central feature so magnificently well. I enjoy how understated it is. It's not overdone. It's not sort of thrown in our face. It's actually inviting us to slow down and very elegantly just purvey our way through in and around all the foreground in particular. Obviously, wonderfully visioned, very well balanced in terms of the foreground and the background, both in terms of tonality and composition. Just the amount of breathing space you really want, a little entry point on a bright corner on the left just to tell us where to start from to move into the frame along those lovely diagonal lines. It's a really, really masterful piece. So I'd love to talk about it more and see if we can go a bit higher.
Alrighty. Christine, you've given it a good score, not as high as Paul's. Could we have your thoughts,
Yes.
please?
Oh yes, no, I want so much to vote it higher. I think a couple of things, having seen this and visited this location many, many times and seen images shot in this area, I think I feel like I'm wanting to lift it just a little. I feel like it's a little underexposed, therefore not really revealing all of the glory, not taking it out of the nocturnal, but just I feel maybe it's a little suppressed. A couple of just minor things. I think the crop on the left could come in a little bit. I'm sort of being drawn to this light area, and I don't see a lot of interest in that far left corner, that far left vertical there. And also, I did notice zooming in that there is that little black line that runs along the edge of a blend sometimes. So but that's a stickler. I think for me, mostly it is the fact that I think that if it were lifted just a little bit in every way, but delicately, I just think it would really shine, and I absolutely would be pushing this a lot higher.
Alrighty. Luke, you're also in gold. Could we have your thoughts, please?
Absolutely. It's just really beautifully composed to start with. Just having a nice, strong central figure right under the Milky Way arch, and then these little pillars that sort of punctuate the horizon. I believe that the balance is really nicely done as well. I think there's just the right amount of detail in the foreground. I think if it's lifted any much more, you will start to lose that nocturnal feel to the image, which is really important, I believe. And so I do feel like it might have been a little bit plasticky in terms of the noise reduction in parts, or would have liked to have seen a little bit more fine detail in the foreground, which would have put my score up a little higher. But and certainly the ripples of the air glow there are just astounding as well. So definitely deserving of a gold for sure.
Thank you so much. Rachel, you've indicated you've got something to contribute.
Yeah, I'll just be quick. I think I've also put this into gold, and one of the things that I really am enjoying about it compositionally is the way that the photographer has chosen to angle this so that those towers in the foreground aren't actually intersecting, but are very, very closely touching the base of that Milky Way arch on the right. And I think that's really cleverly composed. So I'm happy to come into a higher gold.
Alrighty. Well, Paul, you started this show. You get to finish it. Bring it home.
To be there for the show. Such a wonderful sense of deliberateness around this, and how well handled it is, how beautifully composed it is, even those subtle elements like Rachel was mentioning. A little bit with Luke, if you lift it up high, not only would it sort of move away from that nocturnal feel, it probably would overemphasize the highlight point of the galaxy on the right-hand side of the frame and make that overly dominant. I also feel like on the left-hand side, that light point is quite important, and also the pillar on the left balancing the last little pillar on the right. And if you cropped in from the left, you'd lose both of them, and your eye would just get jerked towards that highlight point a little bit too quickly into that lighter part of the Milky Way. And I think it's a counterbalance point and an important entry point of the image to keep it there. So I won't say any more. I think it's already there. I'm 94, and I'd, if I could, I'd go higher, but I think it's up to you guys to give it a bit of a lift.
Thanks, Paul. You are locked in at 94, but everyone else is free to rescore. $92. Congratulations. That's a very, very good solid gold award. Well done, and great dialogue there. Thank you, folks. Bob, please come back to the panel. Ari, take a short break and we'll go to our next image.
Sure. Works for me.
The image shows astronomical observatories at Mauna Kea in Hawaii, with the Milky Way in the background, featuring hydrogen emission regions and dark dust lanes. Obviously taken in Mauna Kea at Hawaii on a Canon EOS R modified camera with a Sigma Art 28mm lens, a Skywatcher Star Adventurer tracker, and a Astronomic H-alpha Canon clip-in filter. 18 times 5 frames for RGB and 3 panels of 20 frames for the HA. Total integration time, about 4.5 hours. The image score is 87. Congratulations, a very, very solid silver award. We do, however, have 2 judges hovering in the gold range, the highest of which is Rachel. I'll take your challenge at 91.
Yeah, sure. I find it really intriguing. I'm loving it. I like the way that the inclusion of the structures, the observatories, have been placed in the foreground so that they're almost like alien figures, and so it just adds to that sort of otherworldly celestial narrative. I really, really love it. I think it's very well composed with the central figure, and beautifully handled, and I'm loving all of the detail that we can see in that celestial arch. So I've booked it into gold at 91.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Bob, you've given this a good score, but perhaps suggesting there's room to grow with your score of 83.
Yeah, 83 for me, and it had a lot to do with, I mean, I enjoy where, how the maker put this together and the arch of the Milky Way over the observatories. But where I feel it falls a little bit short, I think it could be much stronger with more of a panoramic. That whole foreground is just so devoid of life. And then the observatory on the very far left looks like it's rendered absolutely beautifully. And the others feel like they were burned down to such an extent that it kind of takes away from the possible color that they are.
Thank you very much. Let's go to our other gold award scorer, Luke. Your 90.
Absolutely, it's just really nicely composed again. Finding that central observatory tower there in the middle, right under the arch, and then having the other ones at the ends of the arch. So it's well constructed. I do definitely take the point of a wider crop would have, or a more panoramic, giving a bit more space on the ends, and losing maybe more of that foreground would certainly push up the score for me personally. However, in terms of a concept and location and the way that the file's been handled and the technical execution, there's all of the detail that you could want to see is there. So I do believe it's worthy of a gold score.
Well, let's hand back to Rachel for your right of reply and see what you can do.
Yeah, I actually love everything that Luke said. I think he had the perfect right of reply for me. So I just like everyone to take a moment, have another look, and join us both in gold.
Thank you, team. Rachel, you're locked in at 91. Everyone else is free to rescore. And the image scores 89. A very, very good score. There we are. Thank you, judges. That is the last image in the category. We're going to hand back to Robyn now, who's going to tell the audience, first of all, what's going to happen, and then I'll get you guys to stay online if you wouldn't mind. So, Robyn, over to you, please.
Thanks so much, Andy. And thank you so much to all of our judges. It has been an incredible experience. We hope that it's been very educational for everyone that has tuned in. I always take away a favourite comment, and I think today's was an amazing one by Christine, where she said, make sure when you're looking at your exposure that you want to capture all the juiciness that's in the sky. And I thought that was just absolutely fabulous. So well done to the entrants that submitted such great images that definitely inspired our judges, and we got some great scores in there too. So that's the close of the online judging for the Astro Landscape category. However, our judges will now be debating behind the scenes the top 5 highest scoring images to determine our winner. To our entrants, thank you. You've submitted some amazing images, and it's been a delight to see them judged today. If you didn't make it to the top 25, take the time to watch the judging, learn what you can, and come back stronger next year. Thanks again to our amazing powerhouse team running the event, and to our sponsors, our major sponsors Celestron, category sponsors Sidereal and Move Shoot Move, as well as Deep Sky West, Chroma, Astrobin, and of course, Astrography. Thank you to our online audience for tuning in and celebrating the excellence of astrophotography with us. Winners for this category will be announced during our live awards presentation this Friday, the 19th of September. So make sure it's in your calendar. All the international dates and times will be up on the website soon. We'll be back from 7 o'clock tonight judging the solar system category. So until then, thank you for joining us, and we wish you all the best for clear skies ahead.
Oh my God, look at that picture over there. There's the Earth coming up. Wow, is that pretty?